Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are enjoying us. My name is Jason Love from Co-Optimus, and I'm joined here today by Robert Hale from Squid Box.
Hello.
Robert here is working on a new co-op game called Waves Arena Tactics, and he agreed to sit down with us for a few minutes today to talk about that game. So, Rob, to kick things off, just tell us about Squid Box and how you got started in games development.
Squid in a Box started about 3 years ago now. I used to be working at Ninja Theory, making AAA games for consoles. I last worked on Enslaved, Odyssey to the East,
Beautiful
West.
game, love that
I
game.
forget. I forget the name of it. I worked. They changed it so many times. We were working on it. Yeah, that was the last console title I worked on, and at the end of that, I was just really kind of wanting to get out of the industry. I've been doing console games for like 12 years. I just wanted to go independent, and the Unreal Dev Kit had come out at the time, and I'd been working with Unreal for my entire career,
hmm
so I knew how that worked. So it was the perfect time to go out on my own and try and make my own game. And so yeah, I made a little top-down shooter called Waves with UDK, got it out on Steam, and started my.
So that's excellent. I mean, your first title then, Waves, as you mentioned, is an arcade-style twin-stick shooter that came out a few years back on Steam. And what was that like? Like your first foray into the world of independent games development instead of working on a AAA or major console release?
It was both terrifying and exciting at the same time. There was no safety net. I was before I was a salaried employee. It was safe.
Right.
It was a very safe job, and that was both a blessing and a curse. Because now it means all of my work that I put in, like, correlates directly to how much income I make.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Because it's like, yeah, if I work really hard, I'll make more money. But if the game still sells badly anyway, I'm poor and I'm
Right.
living on the streets. So it was both amazing and terrifying. It was also just really cool to be able to make something that I wanted to make, like something that I was going to enjoy playing, rather than something that like was to appease the publishers or to appease a specific demographic of the market on a console.
So yeah, I mean, we've definitely been hearing more of that sentiment for, either small groups of people or individuals leaving major development studios to go off and start their own and work on their own thing. But I
Yeah.
mean, from your take, what really is it like working for a major studio? I mean, is it as bad as some of these news stories and op-ed pieces make it out to be?
Uh, it's it depends where you are, but at the place where I was at, which was biggest, which was Midway, there was 150 people working on our game,
Mm-hmm.
and in a situation like that, you've got a list of stuff to do, and you work through it, and you have almost little to no creative impact on the project that you're working on, unless you're in one of the top like five positions in the team.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be quite depressing on the really big teams. It's like it's literally just earning a wage a lot of the time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, when faced with that, the idea of going independent and just doing whatever you want to do and hoping that it makes money, enough for you to live on, then that's a very, very tempting thing.
Yeah. So then, speaking of creative and going off and doing your own thing, you did Waves, and now you've got your second title coming out, Waves Arena Tactics. What can you tell us about that?
Waves Arena Tactics is kind of in the same genre as Waves. Um, it started out life as an RPG. It was originally going to be a turn-based role-playing game, believe it or not.
That's a jump.
Yeah. Well, the first game started out as a physics puzzler, and I got bored and added a gun. Um, and so that's how that worked out. It was going to be an RPG, so you could play Dungeons and Dragons, like turn-based RPGs with your friends online over the internet. Because at the time I had no D&D group locally, and I
Yeah,
wanted to be able to do that. But I had to scale it back massively because animation costs a lot of money,
sure.
and I did not have a lot of money to be able to spend on art assets or animation. So I scaled it back and I had a lot of code for making procedural dungeons and levels and RPG systems. I was like, I wonder if I can apply this to a top-down shooter and like reuse some of the assets from the first game, and because abstract shapes are not expensive to make.
Yeah.
It's like balls cheap, people they have limbs. They cost a lot of money.
Valuable lesson there. People always cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um, so that I mean that's great. I mean like going from that leap then of RPG to something now that is twin stick shooter with RPG elements. I mean tell us a little bit more then about those elements that are involved in the game.
Well, it's essentially you've got a bunch of stats that affect your health, shields. I was trying to go for something a little bit akin to playing the Last Stand mode in Dawn of War 2.
Oh, I love that mode.
Yeah, it's like three players in an arena against a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and you can affect your inventory and loadout before the game begins, and it gives you lots of different tactical um, advantages and disadvantages, and your team may synergize well or it may not. And I really wanted to hit all those things like synergies between team members, getting uh, cooperation and teamwork. And I was like, how can I apply that to a top-down shmup?
Yeah.
Is the big question is. It's actually worked out really, really well. It's like I've got so many ideas of what to do with it now that there's just not enough time to get all of the ideas done. So I'm having to scale down the list, like, what do I add to the necessary things? But it's, yeah, it's, you've got some basic stats like health, energy, regeneration, things like that, but most of it comes through in terms of buffs and debuffs on the enemies and on your friends and stuff. So, yeah, you can heal your friends or you can just give them energy that they can use for more powerful weapons or for their own debuffs. And it all interacts really well. I mean, in some cases, you can try and complete levels without actually killing anybody. So you can do a
Oh wow.
shoot 'em up level without doing any shooting. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah. And that's going through. I mean, infinite amount of levels and just how
Yeah,
far you can get.
it's got like 2.5 billion possible levels, and all this and that stuff. And there's the deeper down you go into the levels, then the more loot you'll be able to pick up because you need to be able to upgrade your ship or avatar, started calling it, and you need to be able to upgrade that. So you need to be able to get loot. You need to be able to get money to buy loot. You can sell loot. You can craft two loot items into a better loot item.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there's a whole big inventory metagame going on now.
So that sounds really great. I mean, being able to have such a huge management of things, being able to go back through, but is it every single in between each level, or is it like you start off the run and you choose everything and you just have to keep going for that entire run until you die, and then you can reset it at the start of the next one?
Anytime you go down a level, then you can change your current loadout. So you can change your item stream. So if you've done a level and you just feel, to like speed run through the earlier levels, which is slightly easier, you could just go with a full damage build or just a speed build, just run straight through the level. But if you get in deep, you may feel like you need to tank up and strap on more armor to your ship. You can use anything that you've picked up, but there's no craft between the levels. There's no inventory management. So once you essentially jack out of a run, because if you die like during the run, then that's it. You lose anything that you had on that level.
Okay.
It's that whole kind of roguelike like permadeath. I'm probably going to put in easier mode, which lets you keep all that stuff. But for bigger rewards, you can go for the whole. If you get killed on this level, that's boom. Get run ends at that level. You've lost everything that was on that level.
But you keep everything
keep
prior
everything
to
you
that.
had before.
Yeah. Very cool.
And then you can go and do the whole. I'm going to sell all my stuff, and I'm going to craft these two things into a better one of these, which lasts longer. Because there's modifications which may break every time you go down a level.
Oh, okay.
There's potions and boosters and things which can be used once per level. So it's a big system.
Yeah, and describing it kind of reminds me of the Netrunner card game. I don't know if you've seen that or played that at all, but
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that. Huge fan of that.
Yeah,
That's
I got
awesome.
4 booster packs today, so
That's
yeah,
great.
I'm a big fan of Netrunner.
That's excellent. You said 4 online or 4 local. Is the local through like the
Well,
same computer or?
You can play on one computer with up to 4 pads for the competitive, or 3 players for the co-op modes, because it's the number of enemies that are on screen. It just gets a bit too hectic with
Sure.
4 players.
Gotcha. Excellent.
But yeah, in competitive, 4 players locally with up to 4 pads, or one person on mouse and keyboard and 3 pads, and up to 6 players online for the competitive modes. Well, it's still 3 players online for the co-op mode, because it's a lot of network traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent.
Online co-op games are few and far between because of that.
So why though? I mean, this time around, Waves was purely single player affair, or there was some competitive aspects. But why just go co-op this time? I mean, why even add it, since there is things with network traffic and other stuff to consider?
It's actually a really personal reason. I got engaged.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and we just really like playing co-op games together.
Excellent.
Yeah, we play a lot of co-op games, like on our old GameCube and consoles and stuff, like on the sofa in the living room. And it's just, and my fiance wanted to play my game with me, so I was like, I could probably put local co-op in, like, pretty easy. But it just hadn't occurred to me before with the previous game to try and do it.
Yeah.
While I was making it, because I was on my own.
Sure.
Like, in my room, like, I'm so lonely. And then I got engaged, and yeah, I just decided, yeah, co-op. Why not? Everyone loves co-op.
So last question though, too, because I know you'd mentioned this when we talked earlier. There was a Kickstarter for the game.
Yeah.
The funding fell short, and a lot of that money was going towards the art and music side of things.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now? I mean, we hear tons and tons of stuff about Kickstarters these days, but for you personally, what does that kind of mean for you and for Waves?
The game is still coming out.
That's good.
That's, bottom line. The game is still coming out. I am going to make it. I am going to finish it. It's already approved on Steam for early access. So once it's actually ready for people to start playing it, I can get it out in early access on Steam and start selling copies and start making money that way. I've still got the composer. He's still on board. It's just a case of working out different payment methods. And I'm looking for an artist. I've had some people offer to do artwork for free since doing the Kickstarter.
That's excellent.
Since it failed. But we're probably going to run the Kickstarter again.
Oh,
or
great.
maybe not on Kickstarter, maybe on Indiegogo, and with a much, much smaller goal. Like, we hit like nearly £4,000 on the last day of the Kickstarter, so I know we can hit that again.
Yeah.
And then we can use that money to essentially get the game to a point where it looks good for early access.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's on early access, the money that is made from early access can be used to pay for
The rest of the development. Yeah.
everything else that needs to be done.
Yeah, and we're certainly seeing more of that now too. I mean, there's a few games out there. What is it? Wasteland 2 up on Steam. Grim Dawn. There's a few of those I know have gone that route.
Yeah, Prison Architect's one of my favourites.
Yes.
One of the first, I think, actually, that went on early access.
It was, yeah. Well, Rob, thanks so much again for the time today. Appreciate it. Appreciate hearing about Waves Arena Tactics. It sounds great. I'm really looking forward to something that uses more of that kind of last stand mode, that inspiration, and anything that has a little bit of a nod to Netrunner in it, I'm all for.
Cool.
So thanks again for the time, and good luck with the rest of the development.
Cheers, thank you very much.
All right, take care.
All right.